This is the 4.3 redo, the monetary policy, and the Fed. So what the Federal Reserve does is essentially it protects banks and the banking system. It uses monetary policy to protect the banking system, and it sees over banks and kind of bails them out when they're in trouble. And essentially, what this does is they also are the bank to the banks. Banks can put in deposits to the Federal Reserve and hold it there. And essentially, they make a little bit of cheap money because the Federal Reserve also has its own interest rate. Anyways, this is the limited reserve graph, and we talked about this in the previous video. Essentially, for the money market graph, they use reserve ratio, discount rate, and bonds to control the money supply. Money supply is increased when bonds are bought, and money supply is decreased when bonds are sold. Money supply is increased when reserve ratio and discount ratio is lowered, and money supply decreases when reserve ratio and discount rate is increased. So you can see the full effect over here. Essentially, for example, let's say we are in a negative output gap, right? We would need aggregate demand to go up here, essentially, okay? And in order to do that, we need more money in the money supply, and we need more people buying things. So how this would happen is first the government or the Fed would buy bonds, and reserve ratio would go down, and discount ratio would also go down. This would mean money supply would increase. And when money supply increases, interest decreases, which means investments also decrease. And consumer spending, since money supply went up, quantity of money goes up, consumers spend more, aggregate demand shifts up, and real GDP consequently also shifts up. Now, what if we are in a inflationary gap? Let's fix this then. Now we want to do the complete opposite in an inflationary gap. Discount rate should go up, reserve ratio should go up, and bonds should go down, which means they are being sold. So because of this, money supply would decrease. Investments would increase. Consumer spending would decrease. Aggregate demand would also decrease, and GDP would also decrease, which means this is what would happen. And that is how it is entirely done. And the investments move along the curve. So that is how the money market affects the aggregate demand and short-run supply, short-run aggregate supply. And that is also what the Fed does.